Hey everyone, welcome back to Noiseberry Games. It's the end of another year, which means it's time for another Games of the Year list. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my games of 2023, but I could not do it without a very special guest. You know and love him. It is Taylor.
Woo! I'm only the special guest because no one else plays enough games in the year to actually make one of these lists.
Wow, little cheeky spoiler for you, Taylor. We might have a third video this year.
Oh my god, is it Fitz?
Yes.
I knew it wasn't going to be Robbie. I knew for a fact it wasn't going to be Chris. I'm like, Fitz is the only one left.
It absolutely has to be, yeah. So there's going to be 3 of these this year. So anyway, 2023 has been, most people would agree, a heck of a year for the video games.
For the video games, yes.
For all the video games. Which is going to make my list look really weird.
Oh no.
Because between not having time for several big games, and also several big games not, tickling my fancy, not doing it for me, there's a lot of what would be on most people's list missing from my list, which I think, I don't know, it makes it a bit of a different list. So yeah, it's gonna be different from most games of the year list. But these are gonna be the 5 games I enjoyed the most this year.
And that's what matters.
Exactly. And before I forget, because I always forget, I normally say this at the end of the video, but I'm gonna say it now. Leave your list in the comments below, because I always forget to add that part.
Fair.
Okay, so let's get right into it, like we do every year. Been doing this for several years now. We go 5 to 1, and then just before 1, if there's any honorable mentions, we throw those in as well.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, good sir.
Okay, I'm hopeful you'll know most of my games. We will see.
Yeah, we'll see, alright.
Okay, number 5, I had Bramble the Mountain King.
Okay, that's like that, I don't want to say, like, I guess Limbo style game where you're like the little guy running away from, what is it? It's not Norse mythology. What mythology does it take place around?
It's, it's like Nordic? Like, it's like Scandinavian, like Norwegian, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like, I think of it more like a Little Nightmares kind of game, but you're right, it is like a 2.5D platformer where you play as a very small person running away from big, scary creatures.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I haven't played very many of them, so I'd like, again, my most common association is something like Limbo, or was it Inside, for that just genre of game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember watching the video on it. God, how many, that was the beginning of this year, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah, this has been kind of in my running for several months. I think for many months, I literally only had 2 games on this list until like close to the end, when I was like, God, I really need to play more games.
Huh.
So I put down my 4th Elden Ring playthrough and tried to play some new games.
Jesus Christ, how?
But yeah, Bramble. I think, God, what was it? 2 years ago now, maybe 3. Little Nightmares 2 was on my list. So I really like Little Nightmares. It was on my Game of the Year list. I talked about it for the podcast, which you can find at Taylor's channel. Link in the description if I remember. I'll do my best. So yeah, when Bramble the Mountain King was announced, everyone said, this looks a lot like Little Nightmares, and I was like, I'm intrigued.
So you rang.
And yeah, I played it. It was super like Little Nightmares. Not quite as good as Little Nightmares 2, I'd say, but I probably enjoyed it more than the first Little Nightmares, so that's pretty good. But yeah, it was super spooky, like way more gruesome and gorier than I was expecting. But like the atmosphere and everything, just, it was so good, and really cool story, really cool characters, really great setting. Just a fantastic game if you are into games like Little Nightmares or Limbo.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, that was-
Sorry, I don't know there's much to say. I'm so unfamiliar with the genre as a whole because it just never appealed to me.
No, these kinds of games don't appeal to you?
Not at all. Like, it's not even like the horror aspect. I don't really care. I don't think I'm as like horror averse as you are in many cases, but like just the whole platforming genre is not necessarily my thing.
No, it's really not my thing either. But I don't know. I guess like side scroller platforming is more my thing. Where like
Okay.
I don't know, the platforming. I mean, the platforming isn't like super hard in these kinds of games. And I'm not very good at platforming, so that's probably why I like them.
Fair. I'm garbage at it too.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
So how would you say this one compares, like in terms of difficulty, then with like others in the genre?
God, I mean, I did play it like pretty early on in the year, so
Fair.
I don't know if I could comment. I think like yeah, Bramble and Little Nightmares aren't super difficult, so I'd say they're probably on a pretty similar level.
Okay.
Okay, number 4 is F-099.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. That what, like battle royale racer, I guess, for lack of a better description.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like Taylor said, an F-Zero battle royale game. It's basically the original F-Zero, the SNES game, but reworked so it can have 99 racers at the same time in a game. And as you go through your laps, after every lap, the people in the last, I think it's 10 or 15 positions will get eliminated. So it's really only the best of the best can make it to the end. And it was announced at some kind of Nintendo Direct this year. It was a free download if you've got Nintendo Switch Online, whatever it's called. And it just looked kind of fun. I like the original F-Zero, so I downloaded it, and I was kind of hooked for a brief period right away.
Okay. How much did you play it after you made the video?
How much did I play? I played it like a fair bit after I made the video, because I think when I made the video, that was only like the second or third time I played it, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely kept playing it for several weeks afterwards.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, like I would, because it would, it's sort of a live service, so it would give you like slight bonuses if you like signed in every day, and you could get more experience for racing on the weekends, and you'd be able to do cooler events if you raced on the weekends. So I think for like the first like 2 weeks that it was out, I think I probably played it every single day.
Wow, that's okay then.
And you might remember, you probably don't, but in my video I was having all these connection issues.
Yeah, no, I do.
I literally went out and bought an Ethernet adapter for my Switch just so I could not have these.
Oh my god.
Not have the connection issues in this game.
Jeez.
And it fixed it. It was great after that. I never disconnected again. But yeah, I really, really like this game. I haven't played it for a while, but I would definitely go back to it at some point. We said it at the start of the video, this has been a heck of a year for games. There's been so many to play. So it's hard to find the time to go back to games that aren't Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's been your problem. I've had a very different issue. We'll discuss that in my video.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your take on this year's games in your video. Okay, so my number 3, this is the other one I'm worried you might not have heard of, is Viewfinder.
No, I do. I saw your video. I saw a couple other videos on it because it was trippy as all get out.
Excellent. God, I love doing these videos with you because you know all my games.
As in, I actually watch your videos.
True.
Shocker.
And you also keep up with, I think, new gaming releases.
I mean, I try to, mostly because I don't play, 90% of them, but we'll get into that.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, Viewfinder, super, super trippy, mind-bending, as Taylor said. It's a first-person puzzle game. Think something like Portal or the Talos Principle. And as the name implies, you're tool or your medium for solving puzzles is typically a camera or photography or paintings, stuff like that. And you can take photographs and you can place them into the world, and they will just appear in the world as the 3D version of it, and you can use it to cut through walls. You can use it to generate more batteries to open gates and stuff like that. It was just an absolute treat to play. I found it so much fun.
I mean, yeah, it definitely strikes me as one of those games that inspires creativity just in terms of the amount of options you have, because you can use things like the pictures or the paintings in ways that I'm sure the devs weren't expecting to just completely bypass certain puzzles or just like break the game.
Definitely, like something I like to do pretty much after every game that I finish playing is immediately go and watch a speedrun of it.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you do that as well.
No, I don't usually watch speedruns. I'll watch gameplay videos, but like speedruns, I watch certain speedrun channels that like explain speedruns just because I think that's more interesting. But like if I don't have a grasp of what is going on, or like even games that I played, I can't. If I watch speedrunners, I just feel like, oh, I'm even worse at this game than I thought I was.
I don't know. I like it because like it's such a different way of playing that I would never have done. So like I just like seeing like, especially for like Souls-likes, I love seeing like, you know, let's have a look at these bosses or these parts that I struggled with and see how they dealt with them. Because like, you know, if it's a speedrun, they're not going to die on it. They're going to do it first try.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for Viewfinder, the final level is like a timed challenge basically, and you have to complete 9 little levels in this challenge. I think it was 9, a certain number of challenges in 5 minutes. And there's so many different ways of doing that last level. You can like make it like super cheaty and like take a bunch of photos right at the start and just carry them through and use them to like easily solve every single puzzle.
Oh wow.
So it was just, you know, I kind of struggled through that level myself when I did it, and then I went to watch the speedrun. And I was like, wow, that's how you can absolutely blitz through that last level.
And I don't know. I don't get puzzle games. They're not my style, and they make my brain hurt.
Yeah, this one definitely did that for me, but it was just great. I thought the soundtrack was fantastic. The voice acting was really nice and comforting. It was a very chill vibe, except for that final timed level. But yeah, just really great. I'm not brilliant at puzzle games, but this one really did it for me. Like from the moment I started it in my video, I was hooked, and I think I took a little bit of a break after the video and then went back to it like a month later and just blitzed through it very, very quickly afterwards. And I did go back and make sure I got all achievements for it as well.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, that's how you can tell I was a fan of this one. Okay, so my number 2 game, and this has been number 2 since I played it because I really liked this game, is Dredge.
Okay.
Dredge is that spooky Lovecraftian fishing game. You play as a fisherman on a little beat up, run-down trawler. You go out onto the water and you fish up fish to sell back to the town. But if you go out at night, you're going to see spooky things, and the fog's going to roll in and you're going to go insane.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of horrors under the water and stuff. It's very... it's not even Lovecraftian, it's like just existential horror and very like cosmic horror.
Yeah, very cosmic horror, which I think, isn't cosmic horror just Lovecraftian?
Well, Lovecraft adapted cosmic horror, but I think there are some better authors out there who should be associated with it because of Lovecraft's more personal issues, I guess. You know, him just being a straight up racist, like hardcore.
I guess. Yeah, I guess cosmic horror is a better way of calling the genre. You're right. But yeah, it did such a good job of instilling this sense of dread in you, because like from the moment you start, they're like, oh, welcome, you're the new fisherman. Go out and catch some fish and sell it to us, and we'll be very happy, but don't go out at night. You don't want to go out at night. And I was like, okay, I've got to go out at night. I've got to see what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And like the first time you go out at night, like I said, it gets all foggy. You like hear weird things. You see things off in the distance. And like one of the first things I saw was, I was still pretty close to town because like I was like pretty on edge at the very start, and I was very close to the dock, and I heard like a foghorn, and I saw another boat coming towards me. I was like, oh great, a friend out here. So I did my foghorn back, and they did it back again. And as the boat got closer, it turned into one of those big like lantern fish. Those ones that like dangle the light in front of their head to
the anglerfish.
Yeah, an anglerfish. It turned into like this massive one of that, and I was just like, ah!
Did you ever get caught by it?
Yeah, I think so. Like it doesn't catch you; it just like bumps your ship, and like when like your ship takes damage, like it'll like spout holes in it, and it'll like damage components of your ship. So like your engines won't work at full capacity or whatever, and you'll just like have to limp back to town.
Mm-hmm.
Just phenomenal, I don't know, setting and environment, I guess, and it really did a great job of making it feel very, very spooky at the start of the game. Like towards the end of the game, you're just like blasting around at night. You're outrunning all those spooky fish and stuff. But like the start of the game, like I was so on edge, and it was great. And the little mini game of having to Tetris the fish into your ship's inventory is just a nice little idea.
So I'm curious, how does someone like you, who's seemingly so horror averse, at least in games, and I believe also in movies, how did two like horror based games end up on your games of the year list?
I think this is a bit of a misconception about me that I don't like horror. I'm a massive wuss with first-person horror. It's just something to do with the camera and how close it is. But if it's like a third-person horror game and like I can see like over my character's shoulder and like see like just behind them, it means like nothing's like really gonna catch me off guard. But like if it's a first-person game and like something sneaks up behind you, like you're only gonna know when they spin you around to kill you or whatever, right?
Gotcha.
But I've read so much Stephen King, I've read so much Lovecraft, I've read loads of horror books, so I really dig horror. I'm just not the best with it sometimes.
So would you ever do like VR horror?
No, God no. That's the worst part of first-person horror.
Okay. If we ever get John's channel or my channel to 1 million subscribers, we will do a VR horror challenge.
Guaranteed, yeah. If we somehow get to 1 million subscribers, I'll do some kind of VR horror.
I'll just hire Chris to bot my channel.
I will say, this year I even watched a very spooky show for Halloween.
Oh.
I watched The Haunting of Hill House, which was very spooky. So
okay.
I really like horror themes and ideas, but just not the best with it sometimes. But not as bad as I think it seems sometimes.
Fair.
Okay, so that was number 2. So I've got one honorable mention this year.
All right, okay.
And it's a game that I mostly enjoyed, but it wasn't good enough or polished enough to make the list. But I feel like I have to give it a shout out.
Oh, interesting.
And that game is Lords of the Fallen.
Okay.
Which is the new Souls-like. It's a reboot of the 2014 Lords of the Fallen.
Which was absolute garbage.
At the time of recording, I have a very, very lengthy video on this game coming out tomorrow, actually.
Oh.
So I'll probably leave it pretty brief in this video. I had a lot to say about it in that video, which people will have seen by the time this comes out. but
Okay.
I was frustrated a lot with this game, but I still kept playing it, played the whole thing, beat it after 32 hours, and just the fact that I stuck with it after being frustrated, I think says something about the game, or possibly me.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you're known to be a masochist, but that's besides the point.
Apparently. So yeah, like, for reasons that I'll go into in more depth in the video for it, like, it couldn't be on this list, but had to give it a little shout out because I did mostly enjoy it.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, it's good you mostly enjoyed it. It's too bad that it couldn't make the list.
Yes. Yeah, it had more potential than it lived up to, I guess. And actually, a first this year, I've got 2 dishonorable mentions I need to shout out.
Oh, no. No.
I don't know if I'm going to make this a tradition, but I really had to mention both of these. So my first dishonorable mention has to go to Starfield. Just
You mean one of the Game of the Year candidate for most innovative gameplay?
Oh my
as you
God.
shouted out on your Twitter.
Can you imagine innovative gameplay? Jesus. Yeah, Starfield was just, I think I played it for about 3 hours before I uninstalled it. It's just a boring game, and if it was just a boring game by anyone else, it would be fine. But the fact that they spent however many years wasting their time making this, and like, we're still not going to see Elder Scrolls 6 for another 5 years or whatever. Like, we could have had Elder Scrolls 6 this year instead of this waste of space.
Yeah, that's fair.
Very frustrating. But I mean, silver lining, it means I'm not that excited for Elder Scrolls anymore, because this is all Bethesda can do, I think.
Yeah, I think we've seen Bethesda at its best, and now that's just, they're no longer going to reach those same heights anymore.
No, now they're just kind of treading water. It seems like just doing the same thing again and again.
Well, not to mention, a lot of like the big creatives have left the company. Like, they're done with it. They're making their own thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't excited for this game, but I did have to mention it because I thought it was pretty bad.
I have not played it yet, so I've been watching a playthrough of it, and it's like, it is just Bethesda. It is just like,
it is. Like,
it is the most 6 out of 10 game I think I've ever seen. And like, it's not a bad game, but like you said, it's not a good game. It's just boring. It is one of the games of all time.
It is that.
And like, they've just revamped their Dragonborn powers as space powers.
I didn't even get to space powers. I didn't see any of it. But
you've just got certain space powers that are literally just like Dragonborn shout powers, and it's like
amazing.
Like, you have an actual like Fusro Das shout that just moves people. I was like, why could you not come up with something, like actually creative? Why are you just doing Skyrim again?
I don't know.
Which means the Elder Scrolls 6 is just gonna be Skyrim, but not in Skyrim.
It probably will, yeah. So yeah, I'm not very excited for Elder Scrolls 6 anymore.
Yeah, they have all these Chosen One narratives that they need to move away from. Like, it's just stop. Just stop.
Yeah, I'd love them to do something a bit different. Okay, and then my second dishonorable mention. I don't think anybody had high hopes for this, but it managed to undercut even my low expectations. Was Detective Pikachu Returns.
Oh, I forgot that came out this year.
I think most people will. Detective Pikachu on the 3DS was a fine game, but it at least had some character to it, and it had a little bit of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Detective Pikachu Returns was so repetitive and boring and low budget, and it was just frustrating because, like I said, I had very low expectations, and it managed to not even come close to meeting those.
Did you make a video on this one? I can't remember if I had seen a video on this.
Nope, not me. My girlfriend and I played the whole thing, and even she was like, in like the last chapter, she was like, "Could we be finished this already?"
Okay. Yikes, that's unfortunate.
Yes. Yeah, it was. But yeah, those are my honorable and dishonorable mentions. And now it's time to come to my game of the year. And some people might have to stop the video now, because my game of the year is Hogwarts Legacy.
Okay, we've officially been cancelled.
fuck it. I don't care. I loved this game.
That's fair. I mean, so I've
I
got
don't
a
want to get
slight
into any
confession.
controversy, by the way.
No, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
No. I've got a slight confession to make.
Mm.
I first of all have not read all of the books.
Okay.
Second of all, have never actually seen past. I think it's. Oh god, I think the last movie I saw was Deathly Hallows Part 1, but never finished the series.
Okay.
And have not consumed any other Harry Potter media outside of those.
I see.
And I just, in general, do not give enough of a shit about Harry Potter or like the world around it to care about this game.
That is very fair. If you don't have the love for Harry Potter like I do, this game is absolutely like a 7 out of 10. Pretty by the numbers open world game.
Okay, is it even 7 out of 10 though? If you don't love Harry Potter, because like, when I was watching gameplay, I was like, I get it. You need to be a Harry Potter fan to really like embrace the world, but to me, like a really good game should be able to pull you in, even if you're not a fan of the established IP. And this was just like, I don't give a shit. I'm not too big into magic. I'm not too big into wizardry like you are. I prefer sword and board. So like, it's taking me out even more.
Yeah, I think it's passable without any of the Harry Potter stuff. But the Harry Potter stuff for me was enough. Like, as soon as I saw Hogwarts and got to walk around inside it, I was literally in love. I loved this game so much. It definitely, I was ready for it to be over by the end, because after about, I don't know, 60% of the way through the game, you're not spending that much time in Hogwarts anymore. You're in the, like I said, quite by the numbers open world, just doing by the numbers RPG quests and stuff like that. So by the end of the game, I was ready for it to be over. And
Okay.
it didn't really outstay its welcome. Like, it was a decent length. But yeah, like the magic of Hogwarts and Hogsmeade and getting to make myself in the wizarding world easily carried this game to my Game of the Year spot. And as soon as I had played it for like 5 hours or something way back in February, I slotted it into my number 1 slot, because I didn't think anything else would come along to knock it off, and it stayed there the whole year.
Huh. What? And I gotta ask, and like, I don't know, just because I don't know in general, what is with all the hog stuff? Like, hog this, hog that. And there's almost never a pig in sight.
That's a very good question.
Because, and this is something I've been wondering for years,
about.
but I've never just given it enough time to actually look it up for myself. But like, why hog? Why Hogwarts? Why hog meat? Why pigs?
I really do not know. I never even thought about it. But anyway, yeah, there you go. Hogwarts Legacy, my Game of the Year. Absolutely loved it. Great game. Fantastic. Best Game of the Year.
Let's talk all about J.K. Rowling's involvement.
Uh-oh. Oh no, it looks like we've just ran out of time, Taylor. That's so bad. You'll have to save that for your video.
Oh, and I will. No, I won't. I never played the fucking game.
No. Okay, well, thank you very much for being here, Taylor. Couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Always appreciate it.
Stay tuned for Taylor's video tomorrow, in 2 days. I don't know when they're coming out this year. Just stay tuned for it. It'll come soon. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Leave your list down in the comments below, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.